Welcome back to Uncharted Waters with Admiral Waters. I'm your co-host, Lieutenant Commander Kenneth Bradley. Lock in with us as we have a conversation about mission and mindset pertaining to all things Navy recruiting. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And share it with everyone. Send it to your mom, send it to your dad, send it to yourself and watch it 50 billion times. All right, let's get into the conversation. And welcome back to another episode of Uncharted Waters with Admiral Waters. I'm your co-host, Lieutenant Commander Bradley. And today we have Chief Brown, and we're going to talk about serving as a recruit division commander. I was just telling the Admiral, I'm personally going to like this episode. I spent 5 years up there, so me and him were definitely sharing stories about being up there with recruits. And as he just spoke, one of his favorite tours, one of my favorite tours as well. So
Definitely.
I'm definitely ready to get into the conversation. Chief Brown, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, yes, sir. Chief Brown, operations specialist by trade. Been in the Navy 13 years. Started off on the USS Fort McHenry as an undesignated seaman. Shout out to Fort Mac. From there, I struck OS3 on the Fort McHenry, left there as OS2 in 2017. Transferred to Navy Recruiting District Jacksonville 2017. Got my LPO, all that stuff there. Left April 2021, checked into RTC May 2021, left there February 2025, and now I'm here. Yeah.
Wow, that's quite a journey.
Yes, sir.
That's great.
And it's very rare because you do see like two sides of the pillow, right? You got the recruiters, you got the RDCs out there.
Yes, sir.
And you have had the opportunity to serve as both. You went from recruiting to RDCs. I think you're very well equipped to speak to Recruiting Nation and give some RDC perspective as well.
Yes, sir.
So if you could, with that mindset, what was a typical day for you like as an RDC?
Typical day. So it kind of depends, like throughout your journey as a RDC. So when you're first starting off, you're kind of like a sponge in the beginning. You're trying to soak up and gain as much knowledge as you can in the beginning. So you're always on deck. You're always training. Typical day, waking up, crack of dawn, rev at 6, morning routine, and then from there, just getting the recruits where they need to go, whether that's to their medical appointments, dental, swim, and then typically in the morning you have some type of class where either you're teaching or an instructor's teaching, and then after that class in the morning, you have lunch, and then typically after lunch, that's kind of like your RDC time, your training time after that. So typically what I would do is I want to get PT out of the way, and I want to get hygiene out of the way so that I can have the rest of the day to train. So whether that's drill, getting ready for inspections until you tap them out, put them to sleep.
Very regimented
That's
day.
it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's a busy day.
All right. So in dealing with recruits, as an RDC, how do you balance being strict and supportive, but also understanding of the recruits at the same time?
Good question. So the thing for me was you have to gain that trust very early on in the push. So those first 2-3 days, I really wasn't typically a big yeller in the beginning. I'm really just scoping out the recruits, just trying to see how they maneuver, how they walk, how they're reading their training manual, all these things. And I'm trying to get an understanding of how they are, because the first sentence in our creed is these recruits are entrusted to our care. So in the beginning, I know they don't know anything. I don't know anything about them. So I'm just gauging them at first, and then from there, typically, once you establish that trust with them early on, there isn't really a distinction between having to be strict and having to be understanding, because the recruit kind of understands, hey, this is my RDC. He understands, and then they'll come to you with any problems, whether they tell you directly or indirectly, just by their movements or whatever it is. You can tell when somebody's going through something, and that's just from the early stages of you just watching them really early on. I'm trying not to talk my hands. I'm sorry. That really comes from you just watching them early on, and like I said, establishing that trust very early.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you've seen that these future sailors come in with that perhaps recruiters could help with in the delayed entry program? Are there things that sort of consistently stood out? Because you did a lot of lot of time a lot of pushes up there.
Yes, sir.
Right. So you have this storehouse of knowledge.
Most definitely. For the initially, it's mainly just knowledge. So that start manual that they have, so their chain of command, general orders, rank and recognition, like that's the basis of it. And then PT, I wasn't too concerned about PT, sir, if I'm being honest, because we have the 10 weeks to get them ready for PT. The minute things were things that they could have taken care of before they got to RTC. So like setting up auto pay for their bills. Like that was a big one. So like when we transitioned to the cell phones, that was a big help for us because I was at RDC. You know, they get there, they put their phones in the box, and then we ship them off. So then you see the recruit, you're trying to train, and they're not there. So then you got to pull them into the office. And you're like, hey man, what's going on? Like, hey, I haven't. My family, the lights aren't on at home. Like, okay, we need to forget the training at this point. We need to make sure that your house is taken care of because I know if you're thinking about that, you're not thinking about the training that I'm giving at the moment, and like it's just a waste of time at that point.
Yeah, so this is sort of the life skill stuff that recruiters can help with to ensure that, hey, look, if you're fully engaged in this big transition, are all the things at home being taken care of?
Yes,
yeah, that's
sir.
a good point.
I would say that was the biggest thing for me. Like I said, the training, like PT wise, knowledge wise, we can get through that. But if I can't get you to that point to you being able to PT and you paying attention to the knowledge if I know that you're not even focused because you're thinking about home the entire time.
Yeah. Do you think that there are things that we could do in the delayed entry program to help them kind of know what's coming a little bit more? So like sort of some of the shock and awe of like, ooh, this place is very different than where I'm from. That's always going to be the case. But just to help prepare them for that, are there things that we could do that would have sort of helped them sort of be more ready to listen and be locked on?
Yes, sir. So if I speak more from when I was recruiting, because I did this as well. Like it was more so of like just kind of like a pipeline. Hey, I'm recruiting you. This is the depth guide or the start guide. Study it. This is your ship date, and then we have our depth meetings in between. Being a little more engaged during the depth meetings to make sure that the knowledge is there prior to them coming to RTC would be great. Because that is where a lot of the nervousness comes in from because they don't know any information. So you ask them a simple question and they just freeze up. And then just more PT during the depth meetings. Like I would just say, yeah, just more engagement during depth meetings I would think would be good enough. And then, like I said, when you do your 30, 60, 90s or whatever, making sure, hey, do you have is your debit card set up? Do you have your auto pay set up? All these things. More engagement during that process would make it easier for them for when they get to RTC and they're not as nervous when they get there.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
From your perspective, having done both, when you got to recruit training command, is there anything you can look back on and say, as a recruiter, I probably should have done this better?
Putting yourself on
Oh
record.
yeah. Tell her yourself, Chief Brown.
So, I want to say not differently, but maybe better. Like I said, I was kind of I was a decent recruiter. So I think I spent more time recruiting than I did developing my future sailors. I think I would say that was a problem that I had probably. More so as a recruiter, when I became the LPO of the station, I kind of shifted my gears towards the future sailors because that's what I was more so being judged on.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I think everybody that I recruited and the ones that I even seen when I was RDC, I think I did right by them.
Yeah, I think that's an important message for recruiters today, which is, hey, there is a balance between prospecting and building trust-based relationships and closing for new people in the funnel, and you can never step away from that as a recruiter. But to balance that with continuing to develop the young people that have committed to us, right? To ensure we reduce attrition and we maximize referrals. but even more importantly, that young person knows that they're connected to us, we care about them, and that they stay locked on and ready for boot camp. I think each recruiter really should think through how do they prioritize that. If they're sitting there talking to a future sailor and or talking to a candidate, somebody that's interested, and one of their future sailors walks in the office, where is their priority?
Yes, sir.
Right? I would submit that asking the candidate just to hold on a second and demonstrating that hey, if you wanna have my undivided attention and my input, then become a future sailor, because that's where the priority
Yes,
is.
sir.
That's not to say don't go prospect. I know that you're not advocating for that, but I really appreciate the way that you said that from deep experience with it, because I think that's something every recruiter has to really kind of think through personally, how they make that work.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah.
Having done several shows and talking with recruiters, one of the linear themes that I'm continuing to hear is establishing genuine trust with the people that they're recruiting. And to hear that from an RDC perspective, establishing that trust and getting to know the person, RDCs and recruiters are both in the people business, right?
Yes, sir.
So with that being said, understanding that we're all on the same team. Recruiters got to get the recruits to you, and you have to make them basically trained, ready for duty in the fleet. Was there really a big difference in the rewarding that you felt from recruiting from the reward that you felt from being an RDC? And I think this is kind of a conversation that can help bridge the gap between the two. Because I know when I was at RTC, oddly enough, and I joke with the boss about this, I didn't like recruiters because what, right? This is what I have to mold, right? But you're in that unique situation where you've done both, and I want to really kind of speak to how we're really all on the same team. There's a lot of similarities there. So was there a difference in the reward that you felt by putting someone in the Navy and then turning someone into a basically trained sailor ready for duty in the fleet?
To me, no, sir, not really. To me, the recruiting journey for me was always kind of family based. Always wanted to meet whoever their person that they wanted to speak to or they wanted me to speak with, to make sure that I solidified that recruitment. The families always came in for when we shipped them off, put them on the shuttle to go to RTC, and then on the flip side, being at graduation and then seeing when they call Liberty Call, and the recruits run to their families, but they still seek you out after, like they embrace their families. It felt the same to me, sir. I didn't feel a difference in either of the two.
Yeah, that's really good, and that's really a good connection you're making, Ken.
Yes, sir.
That recruiters and recruit division commanders have a very similar sense of satisfaction in you're providing opportunity for young people. It's exciting to see them succeed. It's exciting to see the input that you provided contributing to that. So that's really, really a nice connection that you've made because of your experience in both areas.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What were some of the most challenging aspects of being an RDC?
Ooh. Okay.
Time.
Here we go. Yeah, time.
I don't know if we spoke about the time, sir. And so RTC has this thing called an MTS, Master Training Schedule. And it's such a regimented schedule, like to the second. It actually made life more manageable than what you exist in, like the regular chaos of the Navy. Because we know how the Navy can be kind of a beautiful harmony of chaos, right?
Yeah.
It's like, man, things are just flying at you. But it's so regimented. Oddly enough, looking back at it, you spent a lot of time up there, but it was kind of easier to manage.
It is, yeah. So the MTS, from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to sleep, is all regimented. The most challenging thing, I guess this is more me on this one. It was me trying not to, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Judge my previous divisions on my future divisions that I would have. So I would have a division later on as an experienced RDC that I had, as a junior RDC. I'm like, okay, the division I had previously had this down pat by this day, and this one doesn't. And then you kind of get stressed out because you're like, okay, we got till this day, the inspection is this day, and they should have it by now, and they don't.
Right.
Like trying not to put previous divisions up against what you were training at the time. That was a big complication that I had. That's probably the biggest thing. Like I said, timing wasn't a big thing. Time was, but not timing, because the MTS just tells you what you need to do at all points of the day.
Did you see any like broad changes in sort of quality, capability, perspective of recruits as they over the was it 4 years, right?
Yes, sir.
Over the 4 years you were there, or did it pretty much like while there are some divisions that get it a little quicker, but generally it's like the same great Americans going through, or was
Yes,
there
sir.
kind of a ebb and flow of like, oh yeah, in the middle those guys were not as good as
No, sir. No, sir. So out of the 4 years I was there, I graduated 10 divisions. I would challenge anybody that wasn't an RDC to find an RDC that thinks that any division that they graduated wasn't like ready when they left. I would tell, like, before every graduation, I would get all my recruits together in like a school circle. I'm like, hey, think about the person you were when you first went to, MEPS. Think about the person you were when you first went to, when you first came to RTC, and think about the person you are now standing in dress uniform. No matter what you joined for, you all set a goal for yourself, and today you're achieving it. And every person that I graduated, they did it. And the quality from my first push to my last one, I didn't see a difference, sir. Like I said, it was the timing of them getting it at certain times changed.
Yeah.
But ultimately, by the time that graduation date came, sir, they're ready to go.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's really good.
All right.
Reassuring.
Yes, sir.
All right, so you're talking to Recruiting Nation. Do you have any closing remarks that you would like to say, anybody from an RDC's perspective?
Closing remarks. I guess, like I said earlier, the biggest hurdle that I came across while being on RDC was making sure that my recruits were set up for success while they were at RTC. So whether that was, like I said, making sure their stuff is on auto payment. Some recruits are good, but they need to call home more often than other recruits. Like, just making sure before they leave that they have those talks with the recruiter, those family members that they're in close contact with, making sure all their affairs are set up before they get there. Make sure they can run. And yeah, I think we're good. It was a good tour. That's my favorite tour so far, most definitely.
And now that you're here at NRC headquarters, it's going to be
this is
going to be the one.
Right. We're not biased or anything,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
So no, that's really good. So you spoke on how training breeds confidence when they show up to Recruit Training Command, and having those intangibles as far as personal affairs so they can be focused on the mission while they were there.
Yes, sir.
Some really good feedback.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Sir, do you have any closing remarks?
Yeah, I'm really grateful that you took the time to spend a little time with us here and communicating with recruiters. While every recruiter has gone through RTC, the things change over time at RTC, and so it's a little bit of a mystery. They're getting them ready for something that they experienced and what they've heard. And the more we can give recruiters sort of a reassurance that the process is, what the process is, what it feels like, and what, RDC's perspectives are, I think there's value to that, because that delayed entry program time can go a long way to hit those things that you identified, and it gives recruiters confidence that they know, oh yeah, I'm doing the right things here to make sure that they're ready. So I really appreciate that. It's been a great conversation. Thanks, I appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Come be RDC. Come be RDC.
Yeah, come be an RDC.
He's recruiting you for RDC. Yeah, you see that? All right, so lock in with the Deppers. All right, thank you for joining us for another episode of Uncharted Waters with Admiral Waters. Thank you for joining us,
Yes, sir.
Chief Brown. And try going to sleep watching this episode. You're not going to be able to do it because it was such a great one. Just watch it over, put it on loop, and watch it till you fall asleep, and hopefully you wake up still watching it. We're here for you. Thank you for joining us.